Hi my lovelies, welcome back to my channel, and for everybody who is new, I'm Leorah and I'm so glad you found me. So sweeties, today we're going to really go into this palette. This is the Tokyo palette from Nomad Cosmetics. This is how she looks. It is of course obviously a pastel palette, and as far as I know this has been the most popular palette from Nomad Cosmetics, and I want to say that this palette really put Nomad Cosmetics on the map because it has been something so special when it released. So now this is not a new release, of course. I bought this some time ago in the Jet Setter bundle, which is I think 4 palettes that are from Nomad Cosmetics. All of them are themed around different places, and that is of course something that Nomad Cosmetics does. This is the whole, like, the idea behind the brand, that they are always taking certain locations and constructing, I guess, or building a release around that. So here you have of course the beautiful color scheme outside on the palette, and you have the same mirrored inside here. And sweeties, I have to tell you that I did a lot of looks with this, and I'm putting them up already on top of me as always, so you can see how I've been playing with the looks, because I'm not good in doing like 5 looks in one video or something. I'm way too slow, I can't do that. So this is my sort of compromise to still show you in one video everything I have been doing with the palette. So anyway, I have been working with this palette now for about a week, and this is of course the last look with using the last shades that I hadn't used yet in the palette. I of course used several shades several times in several looks, and I really got to inform myself, or to like get an opinion about the palette. Of course I will talk to you about that at the end of the video in the review part, and for now we're just going to go into the swatches. I'm going to swatch the palette row by row as always, so just so you know, and I'm just going to swatch it on a bare arm, and yeah, so let's just do it. Okay sweeties, here we have the color scheme, and yeah, just don't forget that this is a pastel palette, okay? So of course this is going to look really muted on my color, on my skin color, because I'm just super fair, so a lot of shades might not show up super much. For example, this one probably disappears almost completely because it is a bone color, or like a skin color for me. And then here we have the green shimmer that I actually used today. It sort of disappears a little bit. Let me just try. Maybe I'll just put another swipe on top of it. Maybe that helps. But it has a bit of a like a skin tone pinkish shift, so that's why it sort of blends a little bit into my skin. I hope when I'm like moving my hand that you can still see it. So anyway, this is the pastel palette that we're working with today. Of course I'm going to create this look today here on camera, and I couldn't stop myself. I had to put the big lashes on because I'm just, you know, I'm loving it that much. So anyway, as always, I'm going to let you see the look. Of course, it's going to be sped up as always, and I'm going to put some music. It's going to be super entertaining. It's not going to take too long because nobody has time these days anymore. So that's what we're going to do, and after that we are going to meet again for the review part. So I'll see you in just a second. Okay, sweeties, here we are with the finished look, and I gotta say, you know, sweeties, if you're not new here, you know that pastels are not my greatest passion, right? You're right. But sweeties, this palette has really my heartstrings pulling, or however one says this, because it is just that special. You know, it is a palette that has everything. It has even depth. You know, I always look for that. I always yearn for that, and this palette has it. So anyway, let's move in just a tiny little bit and let's show you. Of course, I have still lash glue drying because I don't have time. I have to go and wake up my kids and get them ready for school, so that's why we just keep filming. Okay, so here we have the palette. We have 15 shades. We have a beautiful packaging that is totally in line with the inside of the palette, which I always find really nice when that happens. It doesn't have to be necessarily, but it sort of feels like it should be, maybe, you know. And here we absolutely have the theme. You have these cats, and I'm not a fan of cats, but still we have those little cats here and bugs and hearts, and you also have the heads of the heads of the cats imprinted here on most of the shades. Anyway, so you have, of course, the color scheme totally matching, and that is something that Nomad Cosmetics is an absolute expert in. And if you have watched my review of the Berlin Underground palette, then I've been talking about that too, because it is like you see what is in the palette before you even open it. It's early. Okay, before you even open it, and I think that's great. You know, you don't have to do it, but I really like it. So we have cardboard packaging, we have a nice big mirror here, and of course here in this palette, 15 shades, as I told you already, and here we have the mattes, 2 rows, and then we have here these super amazing sort of highlighter, duochromatic, topper, shimmer shades. They're sort of so much in one that it is really stunning. So anyway, let's go through the color scheme here. I did actually, you know what, the look that really surprised me the most was the neutral one that I did, just using these 3 colors. That was amazing, and I got complimented so many times that day, because I don't know how people react to me when I'm doing neutral looks way more than when I'm doing colorful looks, in a good way, you know. Staring always, yes, but like giving me actually verbal compliments, you know, that is really only happening when I'm wearing neutral looks. So I really enjoyed this one. It was super nice, and it was an all matte look. I think I only used, this one here in the inner corner, and besides that it was really a matte look. Shade range wise, as I already told you, you see that there is depth in the palette, and I'm super grateful that they put this shade in here, because really with this shade you can deepen up every single look, which I also did today. It was not my what I wanted to do, honestly. I just wanted to do a look with these 2 and then put this on the lid, which I did, but I kind of felt like, because of the big lashes that I wanted to wear, it feels like it needs a little bit more. So I just put a little bit in the outer corner. I don't know if by now one still can see anything, because the lashes are seriously big, but I'm a lash girl, what can I do? So anyway, I did really looks with every single color scheme here, and I must say that the pigmentation is absolutely phenomenal. I'm speaking about the mattes now, okay? I also have to say that with this palette, I started also using a new eyeshadow primer, which also has been absolutely changing my makeup game, because beforehand I used the Too Faced Shadow Insurance, and I have never made a secret out of that I really did not like it. But you know, when you spend a lot of money on something, I gotta finish it. And it wasn't even me who spent the money on it. I got it gifted by my best friend from the US, but even like, I'm honoring her investment too. So I used it up, and I got myself like an opinion what I think about that eyeshadow primer, and I didn't like it. So now I'm using the one from Sigma, and sweeties, that is a different story, but we'll talk about that some other time. Anyway, just wanted to say that depending on what eyeshadow primer you use, it will really change your makeup game, and it will make it more pleasurable comfortable or not, you know? So I just really feel that everything sort of, everything was more pigmented, everything stuck better to my eyelid. Of course, there was no creasing, there was no fading, there was no staining. And yeah, so I really liked it. Of course, we're talking about pastels. So pastels are not my favorite in general, but I kind of felt, you know, I really need a pastel palette in my collection. I do have some, but they are more like a condensed color scheme. For example, if you remember the Neon Dread palette from Poppy Cosmetics, which was basically oranges and pinks and purples. Here you have a little bit more going on, which is a nice thing, you know? So anyway, let's talk about these a little bit. I did use this one here in my own inner corner today, and I'm also frequently using this as my cheekbone highlighter, which I did also today. It is a yellow, it has a purple shift, which I think looks really cool, and it's perfect. So I also use this as a cheekbone highlighter. I think in the neutral look that I mentioned before, it leans, of course, a little bit more cool than this one, but it still works really well. I used all of them. They are all performing really well. They perform best when applied with a wet brush or a silicone tip brush, which I don't own, but with a wet brush it works, and of course best with a finger, because you get the most opacity and the most, like, you get the most oomph out of them, you know? They're very soft. They're a little bit more in the, like, the consistency like topper shades. They're not like super opaque, so you can also put them on top of any of those and get more out of them, actually, because you can sort of get a color shift, you know, towards whatever color you put underneath. So I really like that. Everything blends super well, builds super well. I have no complaints about this palette, seriously. Would I change something? I don't know. I really don't know. I have to tell you that this shade, yes, it's a bone color shade, but sweeties, this is such a pigmented shade like you would not believe. Maybe you can go, you know what, all the looks that I did, of course, will come up on my social media, and you will come across that look that I did here with those neutral shades, and I think I paired it with like a super red lip, so I went really classy. And I must say, this shade surprised me the most in the palette, because usually those shades don't perform so well on me, because this is literally my skin tone. But this one, sweeties, it was amazing. Like, all of those mattes were absolutely stunning. So there is a bit of a kick up in the pan, which I don't care about. Yeah, and besides that, this is really what I have to say about this, you know? Do I have favorite shades? I think all of the mattes were my favorite performance-wise, and then, you know, I'm not too drawn to pastels, so I'm not going to pick a favorite shade, because, you know, it's just not my favorite. But here, I have to say that this is probably the one I used most. This one I used first today for the first time, and I really liked it. Also, this one was nice. I really cannot choose a favorite, because they all performed really well. Now, I have to say, sweeties, I did not buy any of the pastel palettes from Huda Beauty. I didn't buy any pastel palettes from Colourpop, and I always feel, especially when it comes to Colourpop, because it's so affordable, I always feel like I'm missing out, and why don't you just go ahead and buy it? It's not such a big deal. But yes, it is a big deal if you don't need it, right? You do not need to spend $14 or whatever many. You do not need to spend it if you don't need it. So I wanted to have a pastel palette, and this, of course, came as a package deal, because I bought the whole Jet Setter bundle, which is 4 palettes, I think 4 palettes, from Nomad Cosmetics. So I feel like now I'm the winner, you know, because I don't need any of those pastel palettes, because I have this. And the performance was really good. I'm really convinced. You know that I like Nomad Cosmetics a lot. I have used Nomad Cosmetics quite a bit before, and I'm just really stunned by their consistency, by their, also how they are constantly good. You know, everything that I have tried so far was constantly at the same level of being good. Now, not everything was the color scheme that I personally would have chosen first as my highest priority, but that is a different story. The performance is what matters, because that is what you came for here, because maybe you are totally into pastels and that is your life-changing thing that you need in your life, and then in that case I highly recommend this palette to you. So with all of that being said, I think it is very very clear now that I really enjoyed it. For me, it wasn't really a surprise that I would enjoy it, but on the other hand, it was, because usually I do not super enjoy pastels. I'm basically going through the motions because I like the more dramatic and more dark looks and whatever. But this was a surprise in that way too, because it was really good for being pastels, for me being Leorah, and the combination of all of this, you know, it was a really good time and a success story. And I'm really excited to show you all the pictures of all the photo shoots that are coming up. So sweeties, this is it. I hope you did enjoy, and I hope you found it helpful. Please go ahead and check out Nomad Cosmetics. I have, as of right now, I have even more of Nomad Cosmetics on the way to me, and I'm super excited about it. This is definitely a brand that I wholeheartedly can recommend according to everything that I have tried yet. They are also just really sweet people, and the customer service is super nice, and I just I can say anything negative about this brand, and that is like, it warms my heart. You know, it is so nice to be positive and wholeheartedly just be loving someone, and that is me and Nomad Cosmetics. So that's what we're doing here. Anyway, so this is the look, this is the palette. Go ahead and check it out if you're interested in that color scheme, and also the other palettes that they have and the other products that they have, because it is really an amazing brand. Besides that, of course, you will find everything that I've used on my face and everything else you need to know in the description box down below. Please leave me your comments in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe, because we are almost up to 2,000 subscribers. I'm super thrilled about that. So we're gonna make it happen, sweeties. So don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you here next time for my next video here on my channel. And up until then, definitely go ahead and sparkle. Hugs and kisses. Bye.